Welcome to I'm Doing Well. This is my podcast, and let's get started, huh? Let's do it. I always feel weird when people, I don't know how many podcasts you guys listen to, but I always feel weird when people kind of just start their podcast and they do that thing where it's like you're a fly on the wall and you're like listening to them or like watching them set up. I've never liked that. Like where they take the first 7 minutes to talk about nothing. That's like one of the weirdest things to me for some reason. Okay, Gauruv, you're talking all about it. Give us an example. Okay, I'll give you an example. Like some people, let's reset and I'll show you what like some people do to start their podcast. And it irks me adjacent. It just leaves me perturbed, in a state of it leaves me apoplectic. This is what they do. So here, we're going to reset. They go like this. Starting a podcast. High voice, low voice. Just testing the audio. How does this sound? This sound good? Yeah, of course it sounds good. What, is it going to sound bad? How are you guys doing, huh? Yeah, file in. Yep, we're just getting started. Another episode of I'm Doing Well. I'm Gauruv Virk, as you guys already know. Or maybe you don't. I don't even know myself. I guess I'm still finding myself, huh? How's the audio? Huh? Yeah, it looks good. You'd think I'd have it solved 37 episodes in. 37,000 episodes in, but nope, I'm gonna still act like I'm a rookie to it every time, even though no, it's always in the same setting. Testing. Yeah, so what are we gonna talk about today, guys? What's going on with you? I always do all the talking. What's going on with you? Hmm? Yeah, no, I can't hear you. Yeah, isn't that kind of crazy? I can't hear you, but you can hear me. Yet it's still a conversation. I guess that's just the wild world of podcasting, huh? And see, that's okay. So, end scene. That's what people do. I hate it. I don't like. They just talk about nothing. Like I do that stuff before I turn the camera on. I do a little 30-second test just to see if the audio's good. Some people use that as the intro of their podcast, and I don't know why, but I hate it. I think I just hate it because I'm like, this is stupid. You're just trying to fill. You know what it feels like? It feels like they don't really have anything important to say, so they're just stalling. It's the old when you're in an interview and they ask you a question and then you're like, yeah, interesting question. I'm glad you asked that question. It's leaving me really parched. Let me get some more water in here. Yeah, good question. Why did I have a bodacious ass on my resume? That's a really good question. See, it just feels like they know what they're doing. Like whenever people drink from their water multiple times after a question asked, it's the same kind of energy. It's like, okay, can you just get to it? I know what you're doing. Can you just be transparent and say you just don't know what you're talking about? And it's like, no, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. But just as a refresher, can you maybe ask the question again? Just so I can get it one more time. It's like, hey, no, you know the question. You clearly knew what you were getting into when you came in here. Just do it. It's like you knew you were going to do a podcast. Why not test the audio right before? It doesn't take that long. Or apparently it does. It takes 7 minutes or whatever. Just start. You don't have to And the irony of this whole situation is, aren't I kind of doing the same thing? I have actually talked about something. It's this thing that people do. That's the thing. I have something to talk about. They just make it seem like, so is he going to talk about, are they going to talk about something of substance? Or are they just going to keep saying ooh, audio, rah, 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 testing. It's like, talk about something. You can do this. You can rah, 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 testing by yourself. Just talk about something useful. I don't know. This isn't, I don't really care. But Speaking of, okay, guy, you've talked enough about that. How about you talk about something useful? Okay, here's this. I was standing, actually, I think in this very exact spot, right? Like here. I just entered my room and I turned around real quick because I was like, oh, wait, the thing I was looking for, I was like, is it on my desk? So I turned around real quick. I was like, it's not on my desk. And I turned around even more. I was like, maybe it's on my nightstand. And then I was right back where I started and I realized I did a 360. And then I thought, oh, that was really unnatural. And it made me realize, we always turn left or right a little bit. We're always turning left and or right. We pretty much never turn 360 because there's no reason to. But when I did that 360 turn, I was like, oh, I'm not. Like my body's like, what is it, gyroscope? Like wasn't used to it. The whole thing got thrown off. It's like, whoa, The control center was like, yeah, what's going on? Earthquake. And I was like, no, I just turned all the way around in one spot. And they're like, okay, that's kind of weird. And it is weird. Like there's no really reason you need to turn all the way around in one spot. And so I suggest, I implore, or I don't know if that's the word, I recommend get up if you want to right now, or maybe, make a little note, do this later. Get up and just turn 360 degrees, 360 degrees, and tell me that's not like weird. Like, don't you feel like, oh, this isn't something that many people do? And you're right. Yeah. Most people's, their day to day, they're not turning 360 degrees. So, revelation of the week, much, Wow, Gauruv, you really cracked a case on that one. I know. It's what I do. I'm kind of an intellectual giant. So, yeah. And it's even talking about it is as useful as doing it. There's no use. It's just interesting. It's something that no one talks about. It's something that no one does. And after performing both these actions, you get no further in life. You're just like, at most you'll walk away being like, huh. And that's it. That's really it. So this is my observation. You're welcome, I suppose. Yeah, it just gifting you that one. So, Boy Scouts, they say, do a good turn daily. That's the slogan. So, check that box pretty early here because it's, 1 a.m. That's not important. So, you're welcome once again. I ran out of napkins. So, someone just clicked off. Someone was like, "Oh, napkins now. Great. Yeah, I'm going to leave." I ran out of napkins, so I don't know if you know the natural progression of things, but I got more napkins. That's the next step. There's really only two ways you can go. You can either get more napkins or you can just not get more napkins. And until you get more napkins, you're in a perpetual state of not getting more napkins. Isn't that crazy? It's not, actually. I realize yeah, that's a rhetorical question. Isn't that crazy? It's usually rhetorical. But if you take that literally, and you see that one through and you answer, my question, it's not actually crazy. But I was in a state of not getting more napkins until I got more napkins. And so I got more napkins. And I realized, I took this big chunk because it comes in this big stack, very big stack. I should get used to that, big stacks. Big baller, shot collar. Okay. If you didn't click off before, now you just clicked off. But they come in these big stacks, like I don't know how many napkins it is. But I took this nice, portion of the stack. And I was like, oh, this is a lot of like paper. There's a lot of napkins. And I put them in the little napkin holder on my dining table. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of napkins. And I run through them pretty fast, it looks like. But then I was like, why don't I have an issue with that? Like, why am I so cool? Like, I spill a little something, I'll take a napkin. I'll be like, oh, easy job for a napkin. It's like where I could have just maybe, I don't know, if it's like a crumb or something, maybe just pick it up. I don't know. Like, you can easily just do it with your hand. It's an easy hand job. And so, why am I so okay with just using napkins? And I think it's because they're small. I mean, they're not that small, but they're relatively small compared to like a paper towel. Like when I use a paper towel sheet, I feel wasteful. It feels wasteful. Like I really got to get the most out of this paper towel. Like I got to use it to clean up you know, a spill, wipe my mouth, like clean something. Like you got to really go use the most for a paper towel. But a napkin, I'm like, just you go to get ice cream and you just grab like 3 napkins and you're like, if I need these, I need these. If not, they're getting thrown away with my ice cream when I finish it. But if I was to take a paper towel, I'd be like, okay, well, I have to use this paper towel. Or else, what am I, a lumberjack? Just cutting down trees left and right? And it's weird because there's something so wasteful about paper towels. But then a napkin, I'm like, grab 7 of those bad boys and throw half of them away if you don't use them. Who cares? They're just napkins. But, I mean, you put 2 napkins together. That's like a paper towel at that point. Sure, it's not as sturdy, doesn't have that structural integrity to it, but it's still, right around the same size. I would say surface area wise, pretty much the same. So, yeah, I noticed that also today. I could use a shit ton of napkins and go to bed fine, but I use one too many paper towels, and I'm like, maybe I'm like, let's say heaven, hell, they exist. Oh my God, I'm gonna be having a meeting down with Hades pretty soon here because Jesus. Because Jesus. Okay. No. And then it got me thinking like about other small things. I'm like, well, why am I so okay with just a smaller version of this? And I was like, do I do this with other stuff? And I must. But what are other small things? Ooh, like sample spoons? Like when you go to the ice cream place, I don't know why I'm so stuck up on ice cream or hung up on ice cream. Yeah, they give you a sample. It's this little plastic like spoon thing. And you take the sample and then that's it. That spoon is now void. You got to throw that away. You can't give it back to them. It's like, put my next sample on this. They're like, what? No. I'm not going to cross contaminate my ice cream place just because you care about the environment. I'm like, okay, well, when the asteroid hits, I'm not saying bye to you. So screw you. And that's another thing. Like, if I threw away a big plastic spoon, I'd be like, oh man, I better eat ice cream, soup, cereal. I got to really make the most out of that spoon's life. But a little sample spoon, just eat a little droplet of ice cream and then throw that shit out. It doesn't, you don't really feel that wasteful. But you string like 4 of those sample spoons together, that's pretty much a full spoon. In terms of plastic, the volume of plastic in both those, same. Makes you think. And there's got to be other stuff like that too, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, the simple one is water bottles. Like we use one water bottle, plastic water bottle. And when you throw that away, you're like, it's a bottle. Come on. But then you throw away like, even just throwing away an entire, it can be as simple as this. Let's say you have a 24 pack of water bottles. If you throw away the whole pack, you're like, oh, well, that's wasteful. But if you throw them away one by one, you're like, who cares? It's just one water bottle. But it's the same, like once you throw away 24 of them, it's the same thing as throwing away a crate. Oh no. I'm getting very, I'm getting very dark analogies with this. The analogy I just thought of is like, oh no. When people, oh no. When people hear news, oh, this is so shitty. Okay. Okay. So when there's like an earthquake or like a hurricane, I don't know, some like natural disaster or something, you'll always see the headline, like the next morning it'll say like two people killed in yesterday's tornado, and you so easily just dismiss it. You're like, oh, whatever. Like it doesn't even register that 2 entire lives were lost. Those people had entire families, entire stories. They had life experiences. They had time on this planet and they had human experiences. But because it was just 2, you're like, yeah, okay. swipe up, like go to the next thing. But you see the same thing, maybe the hurricane ravages on for another day. And now you see it got like really crazy. And you see 300 killed in a hurricane. You're like, oh my God. Oh, wow. You know what I just realized too? Did I just equate a water bottle to a human life? Oh shit. God damn it. Water bottles say hi, me 5 cents on them, and a human is an entire life. Shit. But you know what? It helps with the analogy. Like numbers. Like when you see one person killed on a roller coaster, and then because it was a state fair, but then you see like 6 people killed at a state fair because they ate peanuts. You're like, oh my God, that's tragic. But like the one person, you're like, whatever. Happens. It was gonna happen to someone. It happened to that person. So yeah, it's like when you get that package. Like when it's all 6 people, you're like, wow, that's a lot of people, and you get what? Well, no, 6 is greater than 1. I'm realizing my analogy is just falling right through under my feet, and I'm falling. I'm free falling. But yeah, I don't feel that bad when I throw a napkin away, but when I throw a paper towel away, ooh, this is what I have this video idea I'll probably do sometime in the future. I have this list of like things that make me unreasonably anxious. And one thing on the list was when I'm in a public restroom and I get paper towels and I grab more than one. I get really anxious that someone's judging me. Because I see all these people and they just take one, they wipe that, and then they leave. And I'm like, what? This has been a thing my entire life. So it's not the size of my hands that matters. It's a mental thing. Because unless my hands are always this size. But I always have to use 2 paper towels to dry my hands. Or else I can't do it. Like one paper towel, it gets all soaked up. And I'm like, I didn't finish the job. It always has to be 2. I don't know what it is. I think it's a mental thing. But I always have this thought in my mind where I'm like, if someone's drying their hands and I'm washing my hands, I see someone drying their hands, I'll purposely take longer to wash my hands so they can leave. So they don't have to see me basically say, fuck you, Earth, because I'm going to take 2 paper towels. Because I have to take 2 paper towels. It feels really wasteful, Like when I power through, I soldier on, and I use only 1 paper towel, I honestly feel like Boy Scout slogan, I feel like I did my good deed for the day. I was like, I could have destroyed the earth had I taken 1 more paper towel. Just know I didn't. Okay. And that makes me a good person. It makes me like, and then, oh, God forbid, I went to a wing place. My hands are all saucy and I get that. I get that. But I don't know if you're too familiar with the wing experience. If you eat wings, you're getting sauce somewhere around the eating apparatus known as your mouth, which means, let's say you dry off your hands with the paper towels you're using 2 because, F Mother Nature, or, the earth, the big green lady Terra. You use 2 for your hands. You're not, now those are all saucy. You're not going to go to the mouth. That's counterproductive. You have to get a 3rd one. And then it's like, okay, why don't you just go grab a seal by the throat and just shove oil down its throat? Okay. What are you doing? You're murdering the world. Oh. Why don't you go stab a turtle in the eye with a straw, you monster? Did you really use 3 paper towels? Who do you think you are? Jeez. I bet Al Gore would fucking hate you, bro. Yo, bro, I know Al. Al and I are best friends. Bro, Al would hate your guts. Someone gatekeeping global warming. Or like, oh man, someone gatekeeping climate change. Bro, no way. Gore and I go way back. He would hate you if he saw how many paper towels you used. Nah. I don't even dry my hands. I do that thing where I leave the restroom. I just kind of flap that shit around. That's what you do in elementary school. Elementary schools, for some reason, never had paper towels. Like, they have the things that paper towels go into. They never had paper towels, though. And so in school growing up, you would always, after recess, your hands are all black because like the basketballs and the kickballs are just filthy. So there's just all that dirt that gets transferred to your hands. And it just looks like you'd spent a hard day in the coal mine. And so you go to your restroom, you wipe all that shit off, and you're like, oh, paper towels, not there. And so on your walk back to class, you just do this. You do it more like down on the ground, but you can't see that. I don't even. What does this even look like? But yeah, they were trying to teach us at a young age. They knew that like not having paper towels in the restrooms of schools, that wasn't by accident. That was by design. They're like, you're gonna get used to not using paper towels. But then you grow up and you're like, who cares? I'm gonna use 3 paper towels. I need to get this buffalo sauce off me. Okay, you know. Even though later, you might be watching a movie and then your tongue kind of leaves the mouth a little bit and you're like, oh, is that a second meal on my upper lip? Oh, I'm glad I didn't wipe that buffalo sauce off. uh, that's a gross statement until you relate to it. Like having extra food somewhere around your mouth, that's disgusting. Until you're in that position and you're like, oh, I'm not going to tell anyone about this, but thank God I just found that little bit of French fry in my back tooth. Like describing that, finding extra food in your mouth is disgusting to like talk about. But when it happens, you're like, oh, hell yeah, I did. Thank you, God. I knew karma was real. Hell yeah. So yes, use all the napkins you want, but don't, I swear to God, if I see you even reach for a paper towel, I know what you're about. Okay. Anyways, it's getting hotter. I mean, it's not getting hotter. It's been hot as balls. Which that's a common statement, hot as balls. But why is that? Nope, actually, okay. I just I just thought of a way to go with that. We're not even gonna touch that. Let's leave that alone. Oh my god. That's disgusting. So it's been getting hot as balls recently. Recently 3 to 4 months. And so naturally people eat ice cream, right? I'm a big ice cream. Also, ice cream. Wow, so wasteful too. Especially like the individually wrapped ones. So much plastic, and then the cardboard box it comes in, or the paper box, or whatever it's made out of. Wow, and then the ink they probably printed, probably had cartridges. Oh my God, ice cream's the worst. Oh, and it's dairy, so who knows what they're doing to those cows? Oh my God, the horror of Haagen-Dazs. But I'm not a monster. I'm a human. Wait, you didn't say the same thing twice? No, I didn't. Wait, what are you talking about? Anyways, I'm a human, so I got ice cream, and I'm also not lactose intolerant. But even some lactose intolerant people kind of take the bullet for themselves. They're like, I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna go hard on some dibs, and I don't care that I'm gonna get the runs because dibs are amazing. Okay. But I got some ice cream, from Rite Aid earlier this week, and I was looking at the different sizes I could get, and I was trying to get, one of the like pack of bars, stick, and then like there's vanilla ice cream on the stick, and then it's coated in chocolate. It was a Haagen-Dazs bar, and I was looking at like the different sizes that you can get. Like, oh, this one's a 3 pack, this one's like an 8 pack, and those are really, I think, the only 2 sizes. And I was like, well, 8. Even if I eat one a day, that's still, I mean, 8 days over a week. No, I'm not gonna eat ice cream every day for a week. What? You think this body just happens? No, it's a strict diet. So I was like, okay, I'll get the smaller one, 3. And then I got back to my apartment. This, and I put that ice cream in the freezer, and I looked at it. And I was like, oh, that's really sad. Like a 3 pack of Haagen-Dazs ice cream bars is really sad because it's the perfect amount for a person. Because if you want one bar, just go to that like freezer, by the cash register or whatever. Like, when you go to gas stations, they always have that freezer with all these like individually packed ice creams, and you're like $2. But a pack of 6 is like $3, and they're like, yeah, then buy the pack. And you're like, okay, fine. Yeah, you're right. I only wanted one. They're like, yeah, see, who's the idiot now? And you're like, yeah, I am. Thanks. What I tell myself every night when I go to sleep, or at least when I try to go to sleep. I hate myself. But, one is like you go for the individually packed ones in that like little small freezer. And then they wouldn't sell two, you know? But two would be great for like a couple, you know? A couple's like, you want ice cream? Yeah. Do you want ice cream? Yeah. Haagen-Dazs sells those 2 packs. Let's get them, right? And you're like, yes. But even then, you just get one each. Like you get the single one. Okay, here's the thing. Three, three is just too many for one person, but it's the most inconvenient for a couple. Because here's what I thought. If a couple bought a 3-pack of Haagen-Dazs ice cream bars, they bring them home, they each get one, and now there's only one left. That's a conflict waiting to happen. Because now you have to decide between the two of you who's going to get that one. So you would never do that. You're putting yourself in such a compromising position. That is something you would never, as a couple, never buy a 3-pack of ice cream. Unless you guys are very strong and communication is a, very well-practiced, well-worked muscle in your relationship, then go ahead. More power to you. You get to live life to the fullest. But if you're a couple and you're kind of on the rocks, don't you dare buy a 3-pack of Haagen-Dazs ice cream bars. Because that is a problem that you guys are going to have to solve. And that's what makes it such a lonely reminder. Because for me, it's perfect. It's like for a week, I can eat them every other day and be fine, because I'm the only one that's going to eat them. If you have like roommates, you buy that, you eat one, they each eat one. Well, that's it. Now you got to buy more. So that's why I feel like 3 packs of ice cream bars are it's a reminder of how lonely you are because it's so catered towards you and it's so inconvenient for a couple. A couple will never buy that. And if they do, that's either amazing or, next time they both come in, they're each going to be buying singles, if you know what I mean. Yeah, they're going to be alone. They're not going to be with each other. So that's something I realized as I reached for my Haagen-Dazs ice cream bar this week. It's these observations that really highlight why UC Davis decided to make me a true Aggie. They couldn't pass up on this genius mind. Okay, I have this point written down, and I don't even know how to approach this one because I have such a clear thought, but I don't know how to properly articulate it. You see, what happened earlier this week was I saw an ad. Actually, I didn't see an ad. That makes it seem like it was my decision. I was force-fed, I was held down and forced an ad straight down my jugular. Jugular? I don't know. It was forced straight down my goddamn throat. It was an ad for Dick's Sporting Goods. That's right. They shoved a dick straight through my throat. What's up? Actually, what did he just say? That's right. You heard me correct. They shoved that dick straight into me. Right in my ear holes and my eyes. They shoved that dick straight in my eyes. And this actually goes, you might be like, oh, this is getting a little crass. Okay, you prude. Calm down. This goes straight into my point, Dick's Sporting Goods perfectly rides. Actually, what did I write down? I need to know the exact wording of what I wrote down because it's very important. Okay, here. No one is given a free pass more by context than dick. The word dick can be grossly inappropriate in the wrong context and entirely socially acceptable in other contexts. And that blows my mind. The absolute range that dick has is something that honestly needs to be studied by scientists. Because I don't know, maybe, you really got to go back to the etymology of dick, but it is phenomenally multifaceted. Because dick, you call someone a dick in the workplace, that's either a fireable offense or a normal day for Richard, I know I already talked about the name Dick earlier in this podcast, all those episodes ago. I was like, do you think there's anyone like just named Dick where it's like, oh, you mean Richard? And they're like, nope, my name is Dick. And you're like, wow, that is a bold phallic move, my friend. I want to meet your parents. That would that'd be a really interesting couple to talk to. But Dick, like it's insane that just it all depends on context whether or not Dick is okay. Like if you're talking to a friend at an Easter party and you're like, "Oh yeah, I was at Dick's the other day." If you have a friend named Dick, if you needed sporting goods, that's totally fine. But if you're like, "Oh yeah, Dick down my wife," you're like, "What? What's up? What do you weird? This is an Easter party." Oh yeah, I was playing with my nope, I'm not gonna say that. But it's just like, each like no one will if someone's passing by that conversation, they're like, "Oh, Dick's. I know he knows Richard. That's great. Oh, well, he's a hockey player. Of course he was at Dick's." But if they, if they get a little more context and they're like, "Oh, they're talking about that," I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like this ad I saw, I was like, it's insane to me that they can just be like, "Come on down to Dick's." I was like, that's wild that they can just do that. They paid for a spot and YouTube was like, "Yep, put them through." And now, here I am trying to eat dinner. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, Dick's. I'm like, ugh, what? Why do you, I'm eating. Like if it was, imagine if there was like a local guy and they're like, check out this local guy's dick. And you're like, what? How is this possible? And then they're like, well, we put the sporting goods place. Why are we not going to put your local dick in front of you? And you're like, wow. I mean, context, read the room much. I don't know. I think it's just that, like in a work situation or like at church or something in public, like you can talk about your friend Richard or the sporting goods place, but any other usage of the word dick, you might get kicked in the Richard. Like that is incredibly interesting to me. How much range dick has. Because like Dick's Sporting Goods, you can just display prominently on a storefront. But like if you call it's what like, but any other time, like there's a chance like you maybe have to blur it. You know, like on Google Maps, you do that thing where you like you go into satellite version and you go and check stuff out. Dick's Sporting Goods will probably be prominently displayed, but any other time place Dick has said maybe it's blurred. Maybe Google's like, hey, knock it off. Hey, don't don't put that on there. Like graffiti. If someone was to graffiti Dick's Sporting Goods, you'd be like, oh, that's an advertisement. But if someone graffitied just Dick, you're like, oh, that's vulgar. But it's the same word. It's the only difference is Dick's Sporting Goods has balls, and that dick is just a dick. It's a dick without balls. Isn't it also insane that Dick's Sporting Goods could also technically, like, if you think about it, Dick's Sporting Goods, an alternate name is Dick and Balls. Like, Dick's Balls. Oh my God, what the hell? Like, um, that's that. How? And but they get then they see they get away with it, and no one's like I'm not disagreeing. I totally get that they can get away with it, but isn't that wild that they do get away with it? Like it's socially agreed that oh yeah that's cool, that's okay. But any other time we're like, oh hey, come on, there's kids around here, man. Jeez, that's wild. Like you can go around holding like a Dick's Sporting Goods bag, but you go around with any other dick bag, that is a big offense. You know, I don't know. It was like I'm sure people have talked about Dick's Sporting Goods before, but just I think seeing an ad for it really just it like you know shocked me. It was an eye-opening experience because I was like, oh my God, this is an, it wasn't like, it's an ad that just told me to go to Dick's. Like, what? Like, how, if I don't say sporting goods, you're like, whoa, what's going on? What website were you on? I'm like, YouTube, right? Isn't that crazy? YouTube was like, you got to check this dick out. And I'm like, well, huh? Is this the same website with Ryan's toy reviews? You're telling me to look at dicks? Huh? Jeez. It pops up on my own video, and I'm like, oh my God, I know I marked it not just for kids, but this is getting a little out of hand, YouTube. Jeez. Huh. Yeah. I know this is just me beating a dead dick here, but it was so shocking to me. And I wonder, have you ever thought about that? Like it's such a fine line, that word dick. It can be the most acceptable thing or the most like, oh, you bite your tongue, young man. It's like, you want me to bite? Nope, not gonna say it. So yes, I thought I'd bring that to everyone's attention, that I just broke the record for the most times someone said dick in a YouTube video. I'll take my Guinness World Record plaque in the mail. Email me, and I will get you that address. And I'd love to hang that plaque right there. I think there's an open spot, right next to my Eagle Award. Of course, ranking in importance. First, this one will be the most important, and then the Eagle Award second most important. So, Guinness World Record, GWR. Hit your boy up. I would love to get that fixed. Oh man, I'm looking at some of my notes. Some of these are stupid. Some of these are like, I have stuff on here from like weeks ago that I never talked about, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, yeah, I know why I never talked about them. Let's see, what like this. Okay, no, this is fine. I mean, there's, okay, let's just do the last one. One thing I wrote down was, okay, do dentists with bad teeth know they have bad teeth? Like, they have to, right? uh right, like, okay, so growing up, the orthodontist, the person that gives you braces, my orthodontist had these beautiful, like, white teeth, like very just crazy white teeth. And growing up, I was always like, oh, of course, teeth are his whole thing. Of course they look like that. But now I'm realizing, oh, I think homie had veneers. I I don't think those were real teeth, because no one's teeth look like that. And back then, what was it, elementary school, middle school, I didn't know what veneers were. Now I know what veneers are. He has veneers. But, oh my God. Just almost choked on my own spit, which would have been very fitting after our previous conversation. But that's gross. But now, well, back then I was like, oh, of course he has the best looking teeth in the world. This is his gig. But now I'm like, oh my God, he's just a walking ad. He's like, you can grow up to have these teeth. But they're not teeth. They're just, they look like an attachment for Mr. Potato Head. That's what they look like. But I grew up thinking, oh yeah, this is it. This is my shit right here. This, I'm going to wear braces and my rig is going to look just like his. And I think he kind of like had to do it, right? Like, I bet maybe his teeth looked like shit. And he was like, well, I can't be an orthodontist with bad teeth. That's ridiculous. What am I going to go in a meeting with this kid and be like, when you grow up, you're going to have teeth just like this? And they're like, I don't want that. And he's like, oh, shit. Maybe I got to get perfect teeth. And so he got these, teeth that look like that machine at the state fair where you like shoot a ball at the clown's teeth and they get knocked down, these things. he got the clown ball hookup because he was like, well, I mean, I'm a walking ad for my service, and if I look like shit, then I'm not gonna get service. It's kind of like when a football coach is like grossly out of shape and they're like yelling at these kids to run harder. It's like, okay, look at you, man. Like, it's like, how they say the pot calling the kettle black? It's like the umbrella calling the kettle black. It's like, you're not even, what are you doing here? Like, it's just something completely, like, it's like you have no room to talk, okay? Just, I don't even know what you're doing here. What was I talking about? I don't know. I thought about like, and that's the thing. Given statistics, right? There has to be a dentist out there with just the shittiest teeth. Oh, I think it's that. It's like, how do dentists look at teeth all day and then go home, brush their teeth, and go, nice. And then, like, do they not, like, they're looking at this and, like, being critical of other people's teeth all the time. How do they not just, whoop, up in the mirror and be like, oh my God, wait, that's that thing Kathy had that I told her to fix earlier. I have that, but I haven't fixed it. Oh, just gonna go back to work again. It's like, what? you, they can identify all the problems they have. It's that. It's the fact that they can like do it, like identify it all, but then not fix it. And you're like, what? Aren't you the? This is probably a very obvious point, and this is a thing I haven't really thought about it. There's probably like a killer like line I could hit, but this is just me like thinking about it. But it's just that idea that how can a dentist have bad teeth? You know? Like if a mechanic's car is always breaking down, it's like, what? How isn't that your whole thing? And they're like, yeah, but I put all my passion into my clients, so I kind of neglect myself. And you're like, okay, that seems kind of weird, Like, it'd be also weird if the mechanic took his broken down car to like some other repair shop or mechanic. It's like, no, isn't that what are you doing? Anyways, I'm talking about nothing at this point, but surprisingly enough, I think we're pretty much out of time here. I think that was, the podcast that went by fast. I feel like, I think it's because I'm gonna record I'm gonna record a video actually right after I end this, and so I think when it's a marathon, it seems when you only do the first part of it, you're like, I don't know how to explain this analogy, but when it's a marathon and here it is. If you're doing a marathon, a mile is nothing. But if you're just running a mile, you're like, oh my God, that was the hardest shit ever, because it's like the whole event. So, I've only done the first mile. So that's why I'm like, oh, this was whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, we got 3 unique comments on the last podcast. So thank you. Oh my God. Always love the engagement. I love engagement so much. Might just get married. Huh. Nope. But thank you so much for liking, watching, listening, commenting. It means a lot. I didn't post a video last week on the main channel, but don't worry. There'll be a video this week. I guarantee it. And every time I say I guarantee it, it happens. So you should, and you'll expect a new video, and you're going to have your expectations met, because there will be one. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching everything. I have a bunch of new ideas for videos, so I'm going to be recording and editing a little more the next week or two, because I feel like I've been kind of lazy. I'm not going to lie. I've been a little lazy the past few weeks, but I think I'm now ready to get back and actually be a productive person on the internet. So, thank you once again, and I'll talk at you next week, okay? Oh, but you'll see my new video. But then we'll do this again. I'll talk at you next week. All right, bye.